when you build a product from a place of like self-need, you are the ideal customer. And if you are the ideal customer, you know what the ideal user experience looks like, and you will build an amazing product because of it. How I come up with my ideas is, I experience problems in my daily life and I put them down in my notes app on my phone, right? And if there's an idea that I can't stop thinking about that's nagging at me, and the stars seem to align, and like this product, like I can't go to sleep without thinking about it, I pursue that idea and I just go after it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Andres Sanchez, and today we have Steve Cravotta. Steve is scaling the Post-it app, which is a content competitions app that we will dive into. He scaled that to north of 50K. He's also exited 2 apps, one of them being Puff Count, which you may have heard about, which he got up to 40K, MRR, which then he exited. So today's conversation is going to be all about how Steven has been able to build applications with real no technical background and how he's been able to scale them, sell them, and be successful, and why founders are overlooking the consumer app space. So Steven, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know this is a topic that one is semi-trending now. I know a lot of people, AI has opened the doors to a lot of people being able to jump into this world, which wasn't the case 12, 24 months ago. So I wanted to address this question right off the bat, because I know some founders are going to look at this and be like, oh, he's building apps, got to be technical, got to understand coding. Why should all entrepreneurs stick with us for the remainder of this episode?
Because software and mobile apps are the greatest business opportunity right now on the planet. As you mentioned, as you alluded to with AI tools, it's easier than ever to build a mobile app or a micro SaaS or even a big SaaS platform. And what that does for you is builds you recurring revenue, right? That's the power of building a software. In any other business, you have to continue to work for it. In e-commerce, you have to ship products out. You have to do all this work. With SaaS and mobile apps, you build it one time and you can sell it unlimited times, right? So all the work is done up front, and then at the back end of it, it's just marketing. So if you're a marketing guy like me, that's where my expertise is. I don't write a single line of code. I don't build my apps. I outsource that or use AI to do it. If you have marketing knowledge, you can crush the space. Like that is where the gap is right now. There's all these, developers and founders building apps, but they have no idea how to get them out there and get them to market. And I think that's what the winners are doing very well. So if you know how to market, you can crush in this game.
I love it. And we're going to go in and dive into how to build these apps, how to scale them, how to be a successful SaaS, micro SaaS founder. But first, I want to make sure we talk about your story and how you even got into the world of applications.
Let's do it.
So
it goes a long way back. I was in high school, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur even since I was a little kid. I was always trying to sell stuff door to door in my neighborhood, the typical entrepreneur story. So I was always trying to build my own business. And then I watched The Social Network, which is a story about Mark Zuckerberg and how he built Facebook. And I watched that and I was like, all right, this is the coolest thing ever. I need to learn how to code. I need to learn how to build a website. So that's what I started doing. I went on YouTube, taught myself how to, put a website together, launched it. It was like the Hello World website, the standard first entry into development. And that was really cool. And I started building more websites and I was like, okay, I have this website. How do I make money from it? Right. And then obviously you put ads on the website. So I put ads on these websites and then I started to promote them organically through social media, mainly TikTok at the time. And that did well for a while on Google AdSense. And then I came across mobile apps, which you could also, I came to find out you could also develop these and you could have your own mobile app. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So what I did was I built small little games, and that was how I got my start into mobile apps. One of them was called Grid. It was a puzzle game. The next game that I built was called Wordle, which we can get in that story a little bit later. It's a long story. And then in college, I took those skills and built Puff Count, which was a quit vaping app. Previously I had built games and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, these games are reaching hundreds of thousands of people. I can build an app that actually makes people's lives better. So that was kind of how the idea of Puff Count came along, and I've moved on since then.
I have to ask, obviously we need to hear the Wordle story. I'm sure people listening are like, what? I've heard of Wordle. I've heard of that. Like what's the story behind that?
Yeah. So I built a word game when I was in high school, and I called it Wordle. And to this day, I don't know how I came up with the name, right? Everyone knows Wordle. It's the browser game, right? I had a mobile app that I built 7 years ago, and I called it Wordle. And when the browser game came out, a guy named Josh Wardle had built a browser game called Wordle. His went insanely viral. But when you're looking for a game, you don't you don't go to you don't go to your browser. You go to the app store, right? So people are typing in Wordle on the app store, and my app was showing up, right? My app that I built years and years back. So crazy thing. I think it was like, I don't know. I'm super blessed that that happened, but it changed my life pretty much overnight. I woke up one day and my app store downloads dashboard had like 500,000 downloads on Wordle, a game that I built like 6 years ago. And I was like, what is going on? So I
Wow.
looked into it, found Josh's game. I reached out to him. It changed my life pretty much overnight. But my proudest moment from that is I was able to donate to a charity in Oakland out of those earnings. So that was awesome.
Amazing. And like, did they acquire your app? How did that go?
No comment.
Okay, understood. Awesome. Well, I think that's hilarious that you were able to just think about that name, and then 7 years later it goes ultra viral.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's interesting that they didn't reach out or connect early on, or maybe they did, and we can't really talk about it. But
Yeah, no,
um,
Josh and I got in touch, and I reached out to him when it first started happening, right? And we had this back and forth on Twitter, which is still out there. And we came together, and I decided to donate money to a charity that he was involved with. Like, his partner was working at this after school program. It was called Boost Oakland. So I went down there. I was able to donate some money to them, and it was amazing, man. But I think the moral of that story is, as a founder, take bets. Just start building things. Build things that you're passionate about. Keep going. Don't give up on your ideas, because you never know what could happen, right? I built that game 6 years ago just for fun, because I wanted to, because I thought it was cool. And then 6 years down the line, it changed my life like overnight. And it's a similar story in all my other projects too. They don't hit right away, right? I think a lot of founders will give up too early because they think it's too complicated or whatever. Problem solve your way there. Build a product. Build something you're proud of, and stick with it. And it could pay off in a crazy way down the line.
I've I've mentioned this a lot on my episodes, and it's obviously we interview successful founders, and it's something that is commonly brought up. It's so many people right now are so short-sighted because we've never had this many options. It's like that
Right.
shiny object syndrome, but on steroids. There's a new business model, a new way to 10K a month, a new opportunity every 24 hours. And I think people are just constantly caught up and looking for those opportunities. But all of the people that I've interviewed and we talk about their success story, it is typically, I stuck with something, I built something and continued forward after 4, 6, 12 months, even though it wasn't turning a big profit. And then on month 13, it explodes and we
Right.
crush it. So I love that you share that. And it's something that I'm always trying to tell people. It's like, you need to actually put in the work. Like, I know Instagram and TikTok show you that everybody's a successful founder and they've got a Lambo and they're living the dream.
Right.
Most of the time that's fake. I hate to break it to you all, but um, it's important to not give up and to not just quit after 2-3 months of no success or not getting to that 10K MRR or whatever the goal that you set for yourself was. And I know you've mentioned it before. Puff Count was a similar situation. It wasn't printing money in the first few months of the launch. What was that kind of, what was the origination of that app and its
Yeah.
story?
Yeah. So, I had experience building games in the past. And when I was in college, I wasn't really working on anything, but, everyone got addicted to vaping pretty much like overnight. It was one night, it was normal. And then the next night, everybody and their brother had like a jewel in their
Yeah.
hand. Right. So I knew this was going to be a big problem. And just as an entrepreneur, I was like, okay, business opportunity. Right. Like, I myself was addicted to vaping. So I was like, I'm going to build a product that helps people quit. And the most interesting thing about vaping and all of our habits was none of us knew how much we were hitting our vape every single day, right? Nobody knew. And that was like such an interesting thing to find out. So I asked all my friends, I was like, does this sound interesting to you? And they said yes. So boom, that's how the idea for Puff Count came to be, and it was an app that helps you track exactly how much you're vaping every single day, with the goal of reducing your usage over time until you quit, right? To make quitting easier, because it's scientifically proven that as you wean yourself off, like if you're addicted to cigarettes, a doctor will put you on a patch, and then a lower patch, and then a lower strength patch, and then eventually get you to quit, because the side effects are much less. So that was the basis of the idea, right? I had a little bit of money saved up from my previous projects in college, not much. And I pretty much sunk every last penny that I had into developing this product. And because I outsourced my development, right? If you know me, I outsource everything. I don't write a single line of code. So I outsourced this project, got the MVP done, which is one simple feature. And it was just tracking how much you vape every day, right? And the app launched, and I was like, okay, well, now what? Right? Like the app is on the store, but no one knows about it. Yeah. So I started to reach out to influencers to get content, and they all flopped. I wasted more money, reaching out to influencers and getting them to promote content. It all flopped, right? So what I did was started making TikToks on my own. And I think the third TikTok that I made, it blew up. It got like 80,000 views, which was a lot back then. This is like early 2020, right? And it drove like 3,000 downloads to the App Store. And I was like, oh, this is something here. Like, this is something special. And I knew that this was the path. And I just had to commit to making a cringy TikTok every single day, no matter how much my friends laughed at me or whatever. I was just committing to making videos. And that's what I did. And I did it for a long time, man, like 2-3 years. And even when the TikToks were going viral and I was getting a lot of downloads, I didn't really know quite how to monetize that, right? So it was just problem after problem after problem after problem. But I had such high conviction in the product that running into these problems was just, I knew this was part of building the business, right?
Yeah.
Like running into a wall, breaking through it, hitting the next wall, breaking through it. That's what being an entrepreneur is. It's problem solving, and persistence.
I think that a lot of the founders and people listening right now could benefit from just understanding, like, when you say you don't write a line of code, like, what does it actually look like from an idea to the development of the app? And then I want to spend a good amount of time on that marketing section, because I think that is the most valuable part here for everybody to take away. So
100%.
Yeah.
This is how I start all of my apps. I sketch them out on a piece of paper.
So you don't have ChatGPT write it all for you and design everything, but
it's whatever you're cool with, right?
Yeah.
Like I like pen and paper, and this is before ChatGPT, right? This is before ChatGPT that I built Puff Count, right? So I sketch out the idea, and you can give your sketch to ChatGPT, and it can make a super nice model or whatever you want. I sketch out my idea. I brain dump everything on a Google Doc. So all of my ideas, all the competitors, everything. I want everything in one centralized document. Because I'm a founder, I like to hire people. I like to outsource my weaknesses. So I make it very clear for other people that I'm going to hire what I want. So that's a sketch and a brain dump document. And then I take the sketch, upload it to 99 Designs, which is like a contest platform. And you can upload your sketch there, and you'll get all sorts of different designers designing your full app. They designed my full UI. I got like 50 or 60 different designs, and I just picked my best one. And that was my UI. It cost me like $700. Which is insane value. And I think even in the era of ChatGPT, that is the way to go, because these designers are so freaking talented, and you get 50, 60 different options for $700. There's no better value on the planet. 99 Designs is by far the best way to get your UI done. This is not a paid ad. I'm a huge proponent of the product. And then from there, I have my UI done, and I start to go on Upwork and look for freelancers, or, an agency if your app is more complex. And what I do is I put a job post up on Upwork for, whatever budget. I think it was just like a few grand or whatever. And then I go through the applicants, and I start getting on calls, and I start interviewing them. Are they coming to the table with good ideas? Do they present well? Are they on camera? Are they just being a yes man? Are they pushing back here or there? Are they presenting good ideas for my app? And after you interview a few developers, you're going to get a very idea of who is, fronting behind a fake Upwork profile, or who's really good, right? So when I say I don't write a single line of code, I literally don't write a single line of code, and I don't design the apps either. I outsource everything to experts. And that's why I think my apps succeed, is because number one, they look sexy. And number two, they feel sexy. They work. They just work. Because I'm not vibe coding my way. No hate to vibe coding. I think it's very close. You'll be able to vibe code a full app very soon. And I'm putting a lot of focus into this, because this is the way the space is going. But right now, today, and years back when I first started, hiring an expert was the move. And I think it still is the move today, right? My apps work, they look better than the rest. And I'm the marketing guy, right? That is my strength. I outsource all of my weaknesses. And a lot of people are scared to hire people or, spend money to get someone else to build your app. They're like, I'm just going to do it. It's not scary. Like, that's part of being a founder. Any big company, right? You look at Mark Zuckerberg, like, is he writing every single line of code? No, he's a founder. He is that guy. Like, he is the founder. He's hiring people below him that he's outsourcing his weaknesses. Like, if you truly want to build something big, you need to go with other people. You need to outsource your weaknesses so that you can focus on what you're good at, which is what I've stuck to and it's worked for me. Right.
And I appreciate the just transparency, because most people would come on here and be like, vibe coding's the move. Like, I love vibe coding because yes, that's what's viral right cool. now. But it's also you being brutally honest about, like, if you want to win and have a extremely successful app, you do still need some type of technical overview or somebody that understands the code and how to actually build a successful application to be involved. AI cannot take over everything right now. We're getting there, but not right now.
I agree. It's very close. I think 8 to 12 months from now, boom, it's a different story. Right now, today, I think it will get you 60, 70% of the way there, maybe. But anytime when there's complexity introduced to the product, and shout out to Blake Anderson. We met at a bar and we were talking about this, and this is kind of like his line. When there's any complexity introduced into the product, you fold. You don't know what to do because you're not experienced, right? And that's the truth about mobile apps is they're very complex to build, right? Like Apple has strict guidelines. They're very complex to build, not like a web app, not like a website. So, it's always helpful to have someone who knows what they're doing on your team. But the vibe coding tools are amazing. All of my devs on my new project, I gave them all Cursor. So like, if you get a very experienced dev and you give them AI, they're going to be that much quicker, that much faster, that much better, that much cheaper to hire. So I think vibe coding and these AI coding tools have even made hiring people that much easier and that much cheaper. So it's benefiting the whole ecosystem. You don't have to do it yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's what I'm seeing in just my conversations. And I think we're really close, but it's still not it's still not 100% AI based or autonomous. Let's talk about the meat and potatoes of the conversation. Like, obviously you could build the sexiest app, you could have the best working app, but if nobody is seeing it, if nobody is able to download it, there is no app. Break down your strategy on how you're taking these apps and making them go viral.
Absolutely right. And I want to double tap on that real quick. If you have the greatest product in the world, but no one knows about it, and you compare it to the shittiest product in the world and everybody knows about it, there's a million people going to the door, the bad product wins, right? Marketing is truly the moat. How did I promote my products? Organic social media, organic TikToks, organic reels, whatever it was. I just threw a bunch at the wall, right? I was promoting this app everywhere I knew how. I was making TikToks all day long in my apartment, and I would take the most viral TikToks and I would put them on paid ads and scale them, right? That is it, right? You figure out what works organically on the algorithm, and then you take the best performers and you scale them on paid ads. And this is the entire thesis behind my new company, Posted. We make this so much easier for you because I struggled with it. Essentially, right now you have two options. You can do what I did, and you can sit in your apartment for 3 years and make TikToks all day. I don't recommend it. Or you can sit on the phone and sit on your email, and you can DM, email, call 1,000 creators, get one yes, and they're going to charge you $7,000. It's going to be a shitty TikTok. Yeah. Our platform completely changes that. The new Posted platform completely changes that. We can get into that later. But that was my strategy. I made organic content. I took the best performers and I scaled it on paid ads. And I was able to do that because the LTV in my app was fairly high. And I only learned that later down the line. I think like a year into the app, I realized that I should be charging a lot more and I should use a hard paywall, right? Any successful app on the store right now, any of the top apps that you see, they're charging a lot of money. They're either charging a yearly plan or they're charging a lot per week or per month, and they have a hard paywall. It is the de facto standard right now in all the mobile apps that are crushing.
And what did that look like for you? So obviously, like we just talked about, you're breaking through all these walls. You're just learning things that you didn't know were a problem because you didn't know that it was even a part of the equation. Obviously, learning your LTV and understanding what your customer value really is, like long term, is what you've attributed to one of the breakthroughs for Puff, the
Yeah.
Puff Count app specifically. How did you figure that out, and like when did that all kind of click?
It's such a good question. I mean, I was making TikToks all day long and they were going extremely viral and I wasn't making more money. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I was getting a ton of downloads, but the app was free. The app was free. And like I had upgrades inside the app, but no one ever did that. Right.
Yeah.
And shout out to my friend Mark Krasowski. He convinced me to try a hard paywall. And for the longest time, I was like, I don't want to do that. That's going to be a bad experience. And my app's not ready yet. And I don't think it's good enough. And just like this glass ceiling. And there's always a glass ceiling at different stages of entrepreneurship that you just have to break through, right? So Mark eventually convinced me to try the hard paywall. And overnight, like we tripled the amount of people who would convert onto our subscription, right? So that was a huge breakthrough, right? And I was just tired of making organic TikToks. I was tired of doing it. I was tired of putting in the work. I knew that paid ads was how to scale because I looked at the competitors, I saw what they were doing, and I was like, there's other apps that are less viral than me. They're doing less marketing than I am, and they're making so much more than me. What are they doing that I'm not, right? Looking at your competitors and doing market research is the most important part. It should never stop. So I looked at what these other people were doing. I saw that they were charging a lot. They had hard paywalls and they were running paid ads. So I was like, okay, these are the next 3 things that I need to do, right? And so I went with it, right? And the thing with paid ads is like they're expensive.
Yeah.
Acquiring a user is expensive. If you have great creatives, it's less expensive, but like they're unless you're earning a decent amount per subscriber, like you can't run paid ads, right? Like there's a threshold. So you have to get it above that. And the easiest way to do that is to charge more.
When you're going through and obviously you're realizing all this, like I'm thinking in my head, like a really common problem that I've noticed in even for me as a founder and also in conversations with new founders and different things is people struggle with the thought of like charging for something. Like it's like it should be free. Like nobody would pay for this. And like that's such a limiting belief that stops so many people from making money. And it's like, oh, well, I'm not big enough to charge for anything yet, but you've missed out on all these potential base customers you could be like creating throughout this process. And it's not anybody's fault. It's just, sometimes it is hard to rationalize like, hey, like somebody on the other side of this internet product that I have in front of me, computer, phone, laptop, will buy what I am trying to show them. I'm just not charging them for it. So go ahead on that.
If you're afraid to charge money for your product, you need to ask yourself this very simple question. Am I doing this for fun or do I want to build a business? That's it. Which one of those is it? Are you just messing around? Like, is this not serious for you? Or do you actually want to build a business and you want to be an entrepreneur full time? If you want to be an entrepreneur full time, you need to be charging from day one, in my opinion. I watched this interview. I think it was with the founder of Amplitude or Mixpanel or whatever it was, massive company. And he was like, I wish we started charging earlier. Because there's a certain connotation. If you let people in for free, that data that you're getting from them is not good. They're not dedicated to your product. They don't really care that much. They're not bought in. But if you make people pay for your product, they're going to care a lot. They're going to care what the experience is, and they're going to tell you they care, right?
Yeah.
If you charge someone and your product doesn't work, they're going to hound you for a refund, right? But that's amazing feedback to get as a founder. It's so important. And on top of that too, like, what are you going to do? Bootstrap and like not make any money for 3 years? Like at what point do you charge? So just charge from day one. Charge from day one. Get real users, get real feedback, and start making money from day one.
I agree 100%. And again, it's something that people will learn in the process of building businesses. And especially if your business is going to be built off paid ads, like you're acquiring those customers, your only job is to try and get a return on that individual customer. And I don't know about you, but if you're not charging for anything, it's impossible to get any money back.
100%. And I saw this other quote somewhere. It was like, because of how much, that begs the question then, how much do you charge as a founder? And whatever the number that you come up with is, double it. And like, that's your price. You know what I mean? I saw this quote somewhere. Yeah. I forget what it was. And Jake Moore actually has an amazing thread on this too. He like breaks down the most popular, like app pricing tiers on his Twitter. And they're all extremely high, but like those are the best performing apps because just with the law of big numbers, it's easier to charge less people more than it is to charge more people less.
Yeah.
And you'll come to find this. Anyone who's run paid ads knows this. Higher LTV, higher ticket value is easier to scale.
Let's talk about, obviously, the app, the posted app. That's what you're building right now. That's what you're focused on. I think it's a super relevant app, and I have tons of things to talk through. But for you, I want to let you give the quick elevator pitch on what Posted is, why you're excited about it.
Yeah, 100%. So it came from, building, scaling, and exiting puff count. Like one of the things that I wish I did a little bit better was outsource some of the marketing there, and I think that would have benefited me towards the end and made the company more valuable if I had, more creators working and building content for me and more assets for paid ads. It was just me, and that was kind of like some limiting belief that I had. But ultimately, it came down to me struggling to find and work with content creators. It's an absolute nightmare. It's a super distortive process right now. You have to email 1,000, a couple get back. They want to charge you $2,000 and you only get the ad created for 15 days, right? You can only run my ad for 15 days. And if you decide to do it more, I'm going to charge you double. It's a trash process. But you know what the problem is? The top 5% of all the creators, all the influencers in the world get all the deal flow. And there's 95% of the creators out there who are so hungry, they will make content for you for free. So that's what we're leveraging. On Posted, it's a free platform for a month. You can come onto the platform and you can get content for free. And that sounds crazy, but we have this new feature that we just launched called deals, right? So on Posted, you can come onto the platform and you can launch a deal, right? So you kind of explain what your brand is, what it does, features, benefits. You launch this deal, and then creators will submit a video with a bid. So creators will make a full video for your brand, and they'll say, hey, here's a video. If you want it, I'll charge you $20. If you like the video and you like the bid, you accept it. If you think the bid is too high, you can negotiate, you can go back and forth. But this is a way for you to get free content and see the content before you commit to it. You accept it, the creator posts organically on their own profile. So you have like organic lift. That is one of the features of Posted. And then we also have creator contests, right? Contests are where you as a brand, you post a brief, you put up a sum of money for a content contest, and creators will all compete with each other to get the most views for your product. So they'll post organically on their own social media about your product. Whoever gets the most views at the end of the contest takes home the prize pool. And you can have multiple winners and stuff. But yeah, the whole premise of Posted is just making the market efficient, right? The creator economy is not efficient right now, and everyone knows it. It's a nightmare, and we're making it efficient.
Yeah, I mean, I've done my fair share of trying to hiring creators, and it is one of the most unpleasant processes I've ever been a part of. And every creator thinks they're the next Alex Earl, and they're going to get you 1 billion views, and they're really just going to pump a 500 view video out, and you're going to pay too much money for it. So I think a product like this is much needed and pretty awesome, honestly. Like as a founder, like being able to just, because I think also something that comes to mind when I think about it, like as a founder, it's pretty hard to dedicate the time, unless you're a big social media person and you get social media. It's pretty hard to test a lot of different styles of content, angles, to understand what the audience wants. But if you have people that are just creating content for you, I feel like you naturally start to understand, like, wow, like this is the type of content that I think is perfect for what I'm trying to build. But you might have never figured that out if you were the one creating the content yourself constantly. But you're kind of giving the creators free reign here. And I see you, I might have piqued your interest here on that.
I just think it's so interesting. You feel like because everybody knows this feeling of wanting to go viral for your own product.
Yeah.
But no one, very few people on the planet, very few founders, very few companies actually know what they're doing when it comes to organic content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's a shit show.
It's a shit show. And brands think that unless they're getting 10 million views and they're changing their business overnight, because again, this is what they see, other people doing. I got 8 million views on this video, on my downloads went up by 100,000. That is not normal, right? And that's like a once in a lifetime. Even for me on Puff Count, like I had a lot of great viral videos, and we did it for a long time. I had one video that crushed. It got like 10 million views, drove like over 100,000 installs to my app. That happened once for me in like 3 years, right? So what I want brands to really understand, and what I want founders to really understand too, is like that doesn't need to happen for you to be successful on social media, on TikTok or Instagram Reels, right? you just need to look at the organic views as kind of a metric of what type of content is resonating for your brand. And for a lot of these brands and a lot of these apps and a lot of these companies, you need to do both. You need to do organic and paid. They're not exclusive. They work together. Validate your content organically. Start posting a lot. If all your posts get 200 views, great. If one post gets 5,000, the rest get 200. That's a huge dub for you. You know that whatever happened in that post works. Try to run it on paid ads. See if you can scale that way, right? Like I think doing both at the same time, because I've been on both sides of the spectrum, right? Like I've only done organic content, and I'll tell you what, it's an absolute treadmill. It is a rat race. You're always chasing the next viral hit. You're always chasing, always at the whims of the algorithm, and you're always making content. It's a nightmare to manage that. So when you have paid ads on your side too, predictable growth, predictable scale with paid ads, and you're doing organic, I think that's the beautiful spot that every brand needs to be in.
Yeah, and a way that I'm sure some of these brands should be thinking about it, and I'm sure you can add a little bit more color to this, is like 4, 5, 6 years ago, you would be on your Facebook ads manager and you'd be dialing the targeting, trying all these different things. Now, like the AI and the back end is so good, it will understand who your audience is. It's all about who's got the best creative. This is an avenue to then generate the creative you need to scale your paid ads. So in reality, this is just a new ads platform that founders and businesses should be looking at as the way to provide the money printer, which we know is still Meta ads and TikTok ads, the money printer, with the content that it needs to actually do its job. Am I thinking about that correctly? And is that what other brands are starting to realize as well?
Absolutely. That is the strategy. Oh, you see all the top apps or all the top SaaS products in the world, they're all running paid ads. You have to do it. At some point you have to do it because it's predictable scale. It's the easiest way to get a return on your spend if everything else is set up correctly. And what's super interesting too, and what I don't think a lot of people put a lot of thought into sometimes is the creative itself can increase your conversion rate drastically of the product, of the sales of the product, right? So like I think in the app space, everyone thinks of like, what's my cost per install? What's, how is this creative doing in terms of like a cost per click or whatever it is? Look deeper in your funnel, right? Like which creative is driving the lowest cost subscribers for you? Because a lot of the times small nuances, who the creator is, what they're talking about, the storyline in the video will create a lot more emotion and a lot more power and a lot more, drive to use your product and purchase your product, right? And I found this too. Like I had videos that went way more viral than my best performer on paid ads. But the best performer on paid ads hit some nerve. I can't tell you exactly like what happened, but it was just some like emotional trigger that triggered people to want the app really bad, and it crushed on paid ads. So I like don't stop testing either. You should always be testing like new formats and new videos.
For brands that are listening to this conversation right now and think like, shit, this is probably what my competition is doing and I need to start doing it. Like, what would be the best way for them to jump on your app and get the first campaign rolling and get the most out of it?
I'm gonna tell you a cheat code right now. It's called the
Let's hear
Facebook
it.
ads library. You go on the Facebook ads library, you type in your competitors and you see what ads they're actively running. They're not actively spending money on those ads unless they're profitable. So that is a baseline. As a brand, you need to understand what ads are working in your space and what ads are working for your competitors. You can take it a step further and understand the organic algorithm. You can type in your keywords on TikTok, on Instagram, whatever, see what the most viral videos are in the space. Because if you come onto my platform or you go on any other platform or you make content on your own and you have no idea what you're doing or what you want, you're going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You need to understand what type of ads work for you as a brand, right? And then you can come onto our platform and you can run a deal and you can get content for free. But you need to understand what good content looks like, right? Like I think a lot of brands have this misconception of like, oh, the lighting was off and you mispronounced this word and blah blah blah, this, that, and the third, and the ad's not perfect. They don't need to be. They just need to convert. And I think you'll be shocked if you look at some of the top performing ads on TikTok or on Facebook. They look like crap.
Yeah.
They look crazy. Like at first look, you're like, wow, how is this converting like crazy? But it is. Right? So like understanding what good content actually looks like as a brand is your first step. And then you can start doing it. Market research first, and then make content.
Yeah, and I love the mention of like that it doesn't need to be perfect. I think that is another huge roadblock for early founders and people who are trying to launch a business or scale a business. It's like, shit, if this is not perfect, like I'm screwed. And I think like an example for me is my newsletter. I send a newsletter out every single week. It is
Nice.
impossible that I'm not going to have some type of spelling error or grammatical error every once in a while. And sometimes, unfortunately, it might be in an area that people see more. But the funniest thing from those times, and I've been sending this newsletter out weekly for a year and a half, the times that I've made a grammatical error or a mistake, people then reach out and let me know that I made that mistake, which then opens up conversations and engagement where I've upsold, had like really valuable connections, met people, all because of that. If I sat there and freaked out and was like, oh, this isn't perfect, I can't send it, remove it, delete it, like all these little things, I would have missed out on so much. And I think that that's like a huge roadblock for people. Like, just hit send, just hit spend, just hit post, like whatever the mechanism is that you're using, like just do it and then go and correct along the way. Don't be so caught up in making it the most perfect and beautiful thing ever.
Exactly. The real ones know it's a volume game, right?
Yeah.
It's about
That's
it's about putting out that MVP that's broken, but just getting in the hands of people and getting feedback and putting out TikToks and putting out content or whatever it is. It's a volume game. That's how you
yeah,
learn.
and you mentioned it earlier. It's like I go out and I launch an MVP tomorrow. Like I leave this conversation, fantastic idea. I go and launch a product. You think it's a good idea as well. You spend 3.5 months trying to make the perfect product while I've released the product in a week and gotten user feedback for 3 straight months and then continued to revamp, iterate, and create the product that is the perfect product. I'm going to beat you, the one that's making the perfect product, 10 times out of 10. Because
100%.
I'm not 3 months ahead of you. I'm like 6 months ahead of you in reality. So it is a something that people need to be focused on. Um, One thing that I thought would be an interesting conversation here is like you're obviously in the app space. You talk to a lot of app founders and different things. If you had three ideas, like underserved markets or three micro SaaS ideas for people to go and run with, what would they be? And I know I'm putting you a little on the spot here.
Ah, dude, this is such a great question for mobile apps.
Yeah, for a mobile app.
Hmm. Dude, really good question. I haven't even thought about this. I've been so focused on my newest project, I haven't even put time into like
That's
thinking.
fair. That's fair.
I can't think of any like new, you know, holy shit idea. No one's ever done this before. I think the most important thing is to do market research and look at like the top performing niches. I think anything in the health space, right? Anything that makes you healthier, makes you look better, makes you feel better as a human,
Yeah.
that kind of triggers some emotional sort of response. And this is why Puff Count did so well, is because that's emotional, right? And it's a very touchy subject. Vaping is.
Hmm.
People have a super strong opinion that it's bad. People have a super strong opinion that is fine. It's good. So, and it's also making you healthier. So like that made my marketing so much easier. And if you can find something like that where there's super split opinions and it's a very touchy kind of subject and a viral subject, like you have something very special there. So I would take a look at, the health and wellness space, the fitness space, see what apps are interesting there, and see what's underserved in those markets.
Yeah, I think there was that app called like Looks Maxing or like
Yeah.
something along the lines of where like you would take a picture and it would just instantly rate you on your
Yeah.
like or your aura or some BS that gets everybody that are like, I need to look at this, like I need to. And we're living in that world where everybody wants to be healthier, everybody wants to be more fit.
But it's genius because they took a marketing first approach, and this is how I build
Yep.
my apps, right? Like I'm before I even think about putting the idea together, before I draw the first sketch, I'm thinking about how am I going to market this? And for Puff Count, I knew that I would be able to market it because I'd seen it go viral. It was in the news. It was a touchy subject. I knew that it was going to be marketable. As long as I know I can get people to the front door, it doesn't matter about it. The rest really doesn't matter. Obviously, the product matters,
Yeah.
obviously, but getting people to the front door is the most important part. Getting people interested in what you're selling. So I would think marketing first when you're building anything.
Yeah, I think it's just really cool to see like one how quickly this has happened, but like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was a technical moat. Like you needed dollars to create these because you needed to pay somebody to build it. We're getting pretty close to that being dirt cheap. So the new moat is, are you a better marketer than your competitor? And I think people are realizing that really quickly. Like you've got to know how to get eyeballs on the product. That should be the first thing that you think of, not the second thing, not the third thing. If you don't have a clear cut path to get people to the front door, as you just mentioned, you don't really have a business. You don't have a product in reality, because a good product that nobody uses is nothing, unfortunately. So it's just crazy to see how like marketing has taken this huge shift where it is like the skill to know and learn and understand, and it's becoming more and more popular to specialize in something like that.
It is the moat.
One of the questions that I always ask towards the end of all my podcasts, and they usually bring us some interesting answers. So for me, I want to go back in time, and if you could go and talk to the 18-year-old Steven and give him one piece of advice, it doesn't get to be a bunch of advice. One piece of concrete advice that has changed your life for the better, whether it's a business related advice or just a life related advice, what would that be?
Yeah, I would say keep going. You know, because I look back on that time in my life, and I didn't really know like what I was doing or what I wanted to build or whatever, but I was just doing it because I thought it was cool, and I would I would I would emphasize to keep doing that, because I think even now I know what I'm doing a little bit more. I know what direction I'm going, but I'm still only building shit that I think is cool. when it,
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, I just want to build something cool. That's it. Something cool, something useful, something for myself, right? I think in I would say keep going, keep building, because that's what I wanted to do too, right? Like I wanted to build something cool for myself and my friends. And early on, it was building games, right? I think when you come from a place of building for yourself, you will build an amazing product. And this has stayed with me throughout, my entire journey. Through Puff Count, I built it for myself. Me and my friends were addicted to vaping, posted on building because I struggled hiring creators, hiring influencers. When you build a product from a place of like self-need, you are the ideal customer. And if you are the ideal customer, you know what the ideal user experience looks like, and you will build an amazing product because of it. So, and I know you said only one, but like another tip would be, how I come up with my ideas is, I experience problems in my daily life and I put them down in my notes app on my phone, right? And if there's an idea that I can't stop thinking about that's nagging at me, and the stars seem to align, and like this product, like I can't go to sleep without thinking about it, I pursue that idea and I just go after it. And that's what I would tell my 18-year-old self. Just keep going.
I love it. Obviously, we want anybody that's still with us right now, still watching, listening, wherever you're checking this out right now, to go and connect with you. What is the best platform for them to reach out to you? And then also, if they're a brand and they want to go and work with you on your new app, where would they go and reach out?
Absolutely. If you are a brand and you want to try out Posted, it is completely free to get started. It is called postedapp.com, postedapp.com. If you want to connect with me, I'm on Twitter. I'm also on YouTube. It's just at Steven Cravotta on both of those. So come say what's up. More than happy to chop it up. I love talking apps. So
Amazing. And we will do our part and make sure those links are in the description of wherever you're tuning into this episode right now. So you can go and check out Steven's app, or you can go and check out Steven, let him know Beyond the Wealth sent you, go bother him with some app questions and let him know what you're building. But Steven, I want to just say thank you for coming on here and being an open book, being really transparent about how you built successful businesses, because the majority of our audience is listening right now trying to build theirs. So I appreciate you for being an open book, and I can't wait to see you continue to crush it with this app, and might be something that I try for some of my businesses as well. So again,
100%.
thank you for being here with us.
Andres, thank you for the time. Pleasure.
Awesome. And everybody, thank you for tuning in. We will see you all on the next one.